Alright, welcome to episode 4 of the Vertical Unfiltered podcast. The first podcast after the announcement that the Go Vertical Raw podcast will come to an end in a few weeks. And today's episode is a little bit influenced by my recent trip to Israel. And I want to talk a little bit about movement culture. This is a term some people heard of, some people probably haven't. It is not something specific in terms of terminology. It is more something that is made up where movement meets cultural things, and what this is about. And I had this experience when I was walking through Tel Aviv on one of those days where I was in Israel, one of the first days there. I was looking for a good spot to shoot a few videos for my upcoming training program, Go Vertical 2. Stay tuned, coming up this spring. And while I was looking for it, on the beaches, there are some cool spots, some like grass hills out there where you can see a lot of people doing stuff. You have those calisthenics parks everywhere where people are outside doing their workouts, doing their training. And then I came closer, or first I just heard some type of music there, it just sounded like some ancient music, something like very raw. And I got closer, I saw people standing around at a wooden circle. Like there's a wooden circle on the ground and people were moving around. And I came closer and then I recognized that it's capoeira. Capoeira, for those of you who never heard of it, it's like, I think it's from Brazil. It's some martial arts, dance, quite I wouldn't say contactless, but it's more about the dance than about the contact. You don't really fight. It's just some artistic movement. Some people say it's invented by slaves in Brazil. But yeah, some type of movement expressions. You move a lot on your hands, you move a lot to the rhythm of music, you do your own music. Like this group was doing the session there. It was so amazing just to watch it. Those of you who've seen my Instagram stories might have seen it. It looked amazing. How those, like, I don't know, probably 12 people were there, maybe 15, and they were like dancing and moving, and always like two of them getting together and doing some type of movement. And I saw that and I felt like there is so much more to movement. I know, like, I'm in the athletic performance world and we are constantly practicing one certain skill and always going for the same thing over and over again. But what gets lost in there is movement complexity. And movement complexity is so important in my point of view. You always have to try out something new. You have to learn new movements. And this is where dancers, martial artists, and some other sportsmen or some other sports are way superior to a very repetitive motion, like shooting motion in any team sport situation, or even like the track and field people who are doing their movements over and over again, the same thing over and over again. This is not really good for the brain and for development of new movements when you're always doing the same thing over and over again. And then I thought about, like, if you have those people there, how would it be to travel even more, to see even more people moving, and to see what the difference is? I mean, you will have a lot of differences in different countries, and especially in different cultures, how they move, how they do their sports. I mean, every culture moves. not necessarily in sports or team sports, and also like not at all on a competitive in a competitive point. But it does not have to be like that all the time. Like, breathing is movement, if you break it down like that. I mean, I'm not talking about breathing right now, but everything we do is movement. Sometimes it's implemented into work, sometimes it's implemented into some fun, some free time activity. Sometimes it's sports, which is also for most people some type of fun or free time activity. And just to see how many things there are. I mean, I've been to Israel. I've traveled to quite a few countries in my life, but there are a lot of countries I haven't been to so far. And just imagining what other things there are, what other movement principles, what other sports you have. Like, I was in Indonesia last year, and there they have some really interesting team sports, a lot different than what we know in Western society with our basketball, football things and those that are so common over here. But yeah, there's so much more and so much more to explore. And this is somehow my thought of the last few days, to try to find out more what other people play, what other people do, how other people train, and to implement maybe more new things, to go out there, even in weight training, even in plyometric training maybe. Observe, look what other people do, visit other cultures, other countries, and just try out new things. It's good for your brain. It's good for development of the body. It's good for whatever you do. I always advise athletes I train with, you must have a certain part of the year where you do not do your sports. It's so important for everyone, trust me. A year has 12 months. And imagine your season is somewhere between, in most sports, 5 to 8 months most. Like, not a lot of sports have more competitive time than 8 months. Normally it's like half a year, sometimes even less. And the rest of the other half of the year, or the other months that are like where it's your off season, come on, take a month at least, or 2 or 3 months off. Forget about the basketball, forget about your soccer, football, forget about your hurdles, your high jump, your whatever you're doing. Do something else. Move, train, of course, stay fit, improve your fitness levels, and you will be so fired up to get back into it, and you will learn so much more, and your brain, your nervous system will adapt in so many new ways to your movement that you want to be good at. Trust me, it's worth trying that, and just to see what other movement principles have. And if you don't travel, just look online. If you don't like travel, if you don't like to go in other countries, some people don't enjoy that. Read books. There's the internet. But try to find something new at least every month, and just try it out. You will not regret it.